Sometimes the tiredness doesn't announce itself loudly. It just sits there. You wake up, look at the ceiling, and your body already feels like it's late in the day. Not heavy enough to stay in bed. Not light enough to feel rested. You go through the motions anyway: coffee, shower, a quick check of your phone, and you wonder why everything feels slightly harder than it looks. Nothing is obviously wrong. You slept. You ate. You didn't run a marathon yesterday. So why does your energy feel thin before the day even starts? What you might be noticing is a kind of tiredness that doesn't come from effort alone. It's not about doing too much in one moment. It's about what's been quietly adding up. In this video, we'll slow down and name a few reasons this kind of tiredness shows up, so it makes a little more sense when it does. This kind of tiredness is when your body and attention feel worn down even though there's no single clear cause to point to. You're functioning, but it feels like you're doing it on a lower battery than everyone else seems to have. One common reason is spending a lot of time being on, even when nothing dramatic is happening. You might be listening closely, staying polite, keeping things running smoothly, or making sure you don't miss anything important. None of it feels intense on its own. But over time, your system doesn't get many true off moments. Your body learns to stay slightly alert, even during rest. So you can finish a normal day and still feel like you ran something invisible in the background the whole time. It's the kind of tiredness that shows up when you finally sit down and feel more drained than you expected. Sometimes, it comes from carrying unfinished thoughts with you. Not big worries, just small open loops. Things you meant to reply to. Decisions you postponed. Conversations you replayed without realizing it. Each one takes a little bit of attention, even when you're not actively thinking about it. Over time, that background noise adds up. You might notice it when you try to relax and your mind keeps lightly checking in on things you didn't close. The tiredness here isn't about effort. It's about never fully setting anything down. There's also a quieter reason that doesn't get named very often. It can begin quietly when your days don't leave much room for you. You do what's expected. You show up where you said you would. You handle what needs handling. But your own pace, mood, or preferences don't get much space to exist. Even if nothing feels wrong, something feels missing. Your energy slowly leaks out through that gap. So you can feel tired without being able to say what exactly took so much out of you. Here's how this can look in real life. It's mid-afternoon, maybe around 3:30. You're sitting at your desk or on the couch, staring at something simple: a document, a show, a list. You haven't done anything exhausting today. But your body feels flat. Your eyes want to close, even though your mind is still busy. You think about all the little things you've already handled and all the small things waiting later. None of them feel urgent. Together, they feel heavy. If you've been there, you're not strange. You might know someone who lives like this. This is what being tired without a clear cause often looks like. Quiet, unremarkable, and surprisingly hard to shake. For a lot of people, this tiredness gets confusing because it doesn't respond to the usual fixes. Rest helps a little, but not all the way. Distraction helps for a moment, then the low energy returns. That's because the tiredness isn't just physical. It's also about attention and emotional load, even when those loads are subtle. There's a small way to relate to this differently that doesn't turn into a project. When you notice the tiredness, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you might try asking, "What have I been carrying quietly?" Then name just one thing. Not to solve it, just to notice it. This works because naming something reduces the effort of holding it silently. It doesn't make the tiredness disappear, but it can make it feel less vague. Another gentle approach is to give yourself a few minutes of low-demand time. Not scrolling. Not planning. Just doing something simple with no outcome attached, standing by a window, stretching lightly, making tea without multitasking. The point isn't productivity or recovery. It's letting your system experience a moment without expectation. For some people, this creates a small pocket where energy doesn't drain as quickly. But there's one detail people often miss, and it changes how you see the whole thing. This kind of tiredness isn't a personal failure. It's often a sign of adaptation. Your system learned how to manage, stay available, and keep going. That skill helped you function. It just wasn't meant to run non-stop. So if you've been feeling tired without a clear cause, it may not mean you're lazy or broken. It may mean you've been carrying more than you realized, in small, quiet ways that don't show up on a schedule. This is for people who look fine, but keep checking inside. The tiredness isn't asking for a dramatic answer. Sometimes it's just asking to be noticed. And if this felt familiar, you're welcome to stay here for more quiet explanations like this, one feeling at a time.